What's up? So it should hopefully come as no surprise to you that there are a lot of items in Minecraft. And while some are so common that you'll find them in the first 5 minutes of any game, there are some that are so uncommon that you could go years playing and never actually find them, unless you know exactly what you're doing. And in this video, guys, we're actually going to be breaking down the top 15 rarest items in Minecraft. Now, I really want to encourage you guys to watch all the way through to the end of this video. And once you're done watching, comment down below how many of these items you've actually found in the game. I'm going to be very surprised if there's anyone on this list that's found every single one. Other than that, though, if you are new to the channel, please make sure to subscribe and let's get into it. So coming in at our number 15 spot, we have emerald ore. Now, if you've been watching any of PewDiePie's playthroughs, this may come as a bit of a shock, but I promise you, emerald ore is actually pretty rare. Now, not to be confused with its much more common offspring, emerald ore can only be found in one place, and that is by mining. So first of all, the only way to actually even mine emerald ore once you've found it is to have a pickaxe that has the Silk Touch enchantment on it. If you're using a regular iron or diamond pickaxe, you'll just get emeralds instead of the ore. A Silk Touch enchantment can be difficult on its own to get, but to make things even more challenging, the only place that emeralds actually spawn are in mountain biomes. On top of that, they spawn in very small quantities, not in veins, so they can actually be very difficult to even find. And unlike emeralds, you cannot buy them from villagers or actually find them in any sort of dungeon chests, which makes emerald ore actually the rarest mineral in the game. Still though, we've got a lot of spots that are even crazier. Like coming in at 14 with Dragon's Breath. Dragon's Breath is a brewing item that is used to create lingering potions. And as you may have guessed it, the only place in the game that you can find Dragon's Breath is from the one dragon, the Ender Dragon. Now, once you've actually made it to the end and you're ready to go, it's not that difficult, but really the thing that makes Dragon's Breath so challenging to acquire is just the entire process of getting to the end. Using Eyes of Ender, you have to find a portal room in a stronghold, and then you have to have a total of 12 Eyes of Ember just to activate the portal. On top of that, if you're going to the End Realm, you're gonna have to deal with the Ender Dragons, so you should probably be a little kitted up. I mean, for most players, the Ender Dragon is usually considered the end game, so obviously getting here is going to take you a long time. Once you've gotten here, it does get a little bit simpler, as all you have to do is go up to the Ender Dragon's fire on the ground and just use glass bottles to pick it up. But obviously the whole process of actually getting here is quite challenging, which makes this a fairly rare item. And moving on to number 13, we have the sponge. So the sponge can only be found in one of two ways, and both are in ocean monuments. The first and most challenging way to acquire these things is through actually killing the Elder Guardian. Not the little dudes that spawn outside, but the big fish in the middle. He will actually drop one wet sponge upon being defeated. But if you manage to get lucky, there's actually another way you can go about getting sponges. Around the perimeter of the main room in Ocean Monuments, there are actually smaller chambers. And lucky players will actually be fortunate enough to find that some of those chambers contain sponges. Now, unfortunately for players, there's no guarantee that sponges will spawn in an Ocean Monument, but if you are lucky enough to have it happen, you'll get like 30 sponges. So they're difficult to acquire until you get them, and then you're gonna have a lot. From there, all you do if you want to make them dry is chuck them in the furnace and you'll be good to go. Moving on to number 12, we have the golden apple. So it's pretty easy to create a golden apple. All you need is one apple and then 8 blocks of gold. I mean, if you're lucky and you're quick, you could probably have a golden apple by night 1. But what we're looking at is finding a naturally generated gold apple, which is in fact much more difficult. So the regular golden apple is one of the better healing items in the game. Upon eating it, the regular golden apple provides absorption 1 for 2 whole minutes, which provides the player with 4 extra hearts. And on top of that, it also gives the player regeneration 2 for 5 seconds, which is enough to heal up to 4 hearts. So, you know, they're pretty good. But if you don't have any gold and you don't have any apples, you're gonna actually have a pretty difficult time to find one of these guys. While golden apples can be found in all igloo chests, it gets a whole lot harder from here. They spawn in 28.2% of chest minecarts in mine shafts will contain a golden apple. And then from there, you'll see it in 23.5% of desert temple chests, 21.8% of both woodland mansion and dungeon chests, and then 4.3% of big underwater ruin chests, and 2.5% of stronghold altar chests. So they spawn in a lot of different places, but the odds are never all that good. And players who aim to search for golden apple chests are definitely better off to just find the gold themselves. Now moving on to number 11, we've got probably one of the most useless items on our list, which is the Bottle of Enchanting. The Bottle O Enchanting. So the Bottle of Enchanting is a throwable item which when broken on impact will drop about 3 to 11 points worth of experience, which is about the equivalent of killing like 2 enemy mobs. Seriously, it's really useless. But for some reason, these things are actually relatively rare. Now you can find these fairly reliably spawning 60% of the time in pillager outpost chests, but if you're lucky enough to find a sunken shipwreck, you'll only have a 14% chance of finding one of these bottles. Now because master level cleric villagers will actually sell bottles of enchanting for 3 or more emeralds, its rarity is reduced quite a bit, but regardless, they are still fairly rare. You know, they're just stupid is all. Anyways, moving on to our number 10 spot, this is going to be the music disc. So while some music discs can spawn in woodland mansions and dungeons, most are a little bit more tricky to acquire. The only way to actually get most music chests is by having a skeleton kill a creeper with an arrow. Now there's a few strategies you can do to make this a little bit more efficient, but at the end of the day, it is definitely going to be a challenge. The most simple way to do it is round up a whole bunch of creepers and get them down to being one shot, then go looking for some skeletons and just hope for the best. But what makes music chests even more rare is that there's a total of 12 of them. So players who are looking for a specific disc actually only have an 8% chance of finding the one they want. Finding the music disc you're looking for can be very challenging, but if you do have a solid strategy, you will be able to do it. And hopefully in the process not find disc 11. Anyways, moving on to our number 9 spot, this is going to be the Wither Skull. So I've never attempted to fight the Wither, nor have I ever tried to even find a Wither Skull, because I know it's challenging. So to find a Wither Skull, you must first obviously find a Wither Skeleton. With no enchantments, Wither Skulls have a 2.5% chance of dropping from a skeleton, or with looting 3, you'll get about a 5.5% chance. So if you're trying to do it this way, it's gonna take a really long time. The only other way to do it is to get a charged creeper, which is probably even more painstakingly difficult. You have to be as lucky to have a thunderstorm going on and then have a creeper struck by lightning by said thunderstorm. From there, all you have to do is take the creeper through the nether portal to a fortress and hope, pray that you can get the creeper to kill the nether skeleton. It's a long process, it's not very easy, and I don't really want to do it. And moving on to our number 8 spot, we have pink wool. Pink wool is both very easy and very difficult to acquire. If you want to get pink wool the easy way, all you have to do is get pink dye and just dye your wool pink. But naturally generated pink wool is actually one of the rarest items in the game. And it sounds easy, but it's not. Because all you have to do is find a pink sheep, which happen to have a 0.164% chance of spawning in the wild. Very low odds. 1 in 609 sheeps will be pink. Now, if you can farm sheep, it's really not gonna take you that long, but it's still gonna take you that long. And all for something that you could make quite easily. Not really worth it. Now moving on to number 7, we've got the Totem of Undying, or as PewDiePie likes to say, stupid babies. So the only way to acquire a Totem of Undying is to kill an Evoker, which can only be found one of 2 ways. Now the first and much more difficult way used to actually be the only way you could acquire these things. In the Java version of Minecraft, woodland mansions are insanely rare structures. You often have to venture over 10,000 steps just to hope to come across one. But that being said, they are much less rare on console as the game just isn't big enough to fit all those blocks into it, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, finding a woodland mansion and then an evoker is actually quite difficult, but there is a little bit easier of a way. Talking raids. So if you really want some Totems of Undying, there is a way you can kind of grind it out. You basically just have to find a pillager outpost and then kill the captain. That will give you the bad omen status in your game. From there, all you have to do is just go into a village and it will automatically spawn a pillager raid. An evoker should spawn in, and once you kill him, you will get your stupid baby. And while much easier than finding it through a woodland mansion, the Totem of Undying is still one of the more rare items in the game. Now moving on to number 6, this is going to be the Heart of the Sea. The Heart of the Sea is both the key and heart to the conduit item. There's only one way to find a Heart of the Sea, in buried treasure. So to find one, what you first must do is find an underwater shipwreck or underwater ruins. You must then search it to find a chest with a buried treasure map. And that map will then show you the rough location of the buried treasure. Once you find the location, you're going to have to dig down and probably for quite some time to find the buried treasure. Now the chest is usually going to be located on shores, but sometimes it's a little bit weird and you can actually find them in the water, which can be kind of annoying. But once you do find that buried treasure, you will have a 100% chance to actually get the Heart of the Sea. It can then be used to create conduits, which are basically like the beacon of water. It grants unlimited breath, you can mine faster, and enemies in the area underwater will get killed by it. It's pretty good. All right, now we're down to our top 5. And at 5, this is going to be the Nether Star. So you know, back at our number 5 spot, I basically explained the process of finding a Wither Skull. Well, if you want to have even a chance of acquiring a Nether Star, you have to do that 3 times. But then it's not even that easy. You're then given the incredible opportunity to fight the Wither, a boss which is sometimes considered to be harder than defeating the Ender Dragon. Survive an endless wave of death from this thing, and defeating it will grant you 1 Nether Star. And you do all this to create a beacon. Is it a challenge to get? Yes. But is it worth it? I would also argue probably yes. Never done it, so I can't say for sure. Now, number 4, we have mob heads. So unlike with wither skeletons, the only way to get certain mob heads is through using the charged creeper method. This, again, is one of the most frustrating and difficult things to probably do in the entire game. You can wait for a thunderstorm and just hope and pray that you'll get lucky enough that a lightning bolt will strike down onto a creeper, and then you still have to go through the process of getting that creeper to kill the mob that you want the head of. And then there's only one other way to make this easier, which is through a trident. Because there's an enchantment for the trident called channeling that actually makes lightning strike down where you send it, you can have a little bit more power and control over this process, but it's still just extremely frustrating. And not something that I would recommend doing for fun. Psycho. Coming in at number 3, we have the rare and often sought Elektra. Elektra is the only item in the game which essentially gives the player the ability to fly. And like Dragon's Breath, the only way to actually find Elektra is in the End Realm. But it's not so easy as just spawning in and having a go of it. Now, if you want to think about the millions of people who have played Minecraft, take that and then consider just what a small portion of people have actually made it to the end. From there, we've got an even smaller portion of people who have beaten the Ender Dragon. And of that remaining group, we've got an even smaller portion of people who have gone searching for Elektra. Because to acquire Elektra, you then have to venture far out through the End Realm and find an End City, which you'll then have an 80% chance of finding a boat. On that boat, you're gonna find Elektra. It's a long, grueling, and very challenging grind to get, but it is one of the coolest and best items in the game, so I think it is very much worth it. Now, coming in at number 2, we have the Enchanted Gold Apple. Like the regular golden apple, the Enchanted Golden Apple provides the player with a ton of different abilities when consumed. The Enchanted Golden Apple provides absorption 4 for 2 minutes, dealing 8 points of absorption health. It also gives regeneration 2, which lasts long enough to heal 8 hearts. And on top of that, it gives fire resistance and resistance 1 for 5 whole minutes, making it very good for fighting basically any boss in the game. Now, you actually used to be able to acquire enchanted apples through crafting. Instead of surrounding a golden apple with ingots, you actually had to surround it with golden blocks. That's 72 total pieces of gold, but this would give you an enchanted gold apple. That is not the case anymore, though. The enchanted golden apple is basically like the master ball of Minecraft. You can find more than one of them, but you're probably never going to, because the chances of finding it are stupid low. Woodland Mansion chests have a 3.1% chance of turning it up, and Dungeon chests actually share this super high rarity. Only 2.6 of Desert Temple chests will contain an enchanted apple. That's a 1 in 40 chance. And 1.4% of minecart chests will contain an enchanted golden apple. It's something that you basically have to accept you'll never find in the game, and if you ever happen to do, well, consider yourself very lucky. But coming in at our number 1 spot, there is an item which boasts such rarity that it only spawns once a game. And it is the egg of the Ender Dragon. Spawning once per game after defeating the Ender Dragon, you will be given 1 dragon egg. And that is it. There is 1 per game, and you'll never find another one. And while it may not even be as challenging to acquire something like Elektra, the fact that you can only get one versus the unlimited number of everything else on this list makes the dragon egg by far the most rare item in Minecraft. Oh, and did I mention it doesn't do anything? Yeah, it's just a decoration. It's kind of ridiculous. It'd be nice if you could just throw it down and spawn another dragon, but no, Minecraft doesn't let you do that. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that is our list. Thank you guys so much for making it all the way through in this one. If you did, you are a certified legend. Make sure to also comment down below how many of these items you have come across in Minecraft. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe, leave a like, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace out, you freaking nerds.